We're talking about the golden year for gold. What's the reason for it? Banks are going bust. Everybody knows that. Bitcoin is going through the roof. The part that concerns me the most is World War III. We're on the verge of it right now because you've got to see what's coming down the road before it hits us. Anytime governments or politicians get in trouble, they start a war. It's their way of taking the pressure off of them. What caused Japan to bomb Pearl Harbor?
On July 26, 1941, Franklin Roosevelt seizes all Japanese assets in the United States. You know why? In retaliation for the Japanese occupation of French Indochina. Then, Japan followed up by occupying Cameron Naval Base, 800 miles from the Philippines, where Americans had troops. President Roosevelt swung into action by freezing all Japanese assets in America. Britain and the Dutch East Indies followed suit. The result, Japan lost access to 3/4 of its overseas trade and 88% of its imported oil. They only import 100%, so they cut off 88%. Can't understand why they bombed Pearl Harbor. They're crazy people in charge. When all else fails, they take you to war. It was the Great Depression. What followed the dot-com bust? The war on terror. People forget the United States was terribly into recession. 88% of the people swallowed the crap in America's longest war in Afghanistan. A losing war, cost trillions, killed hundreds of thousands. It's the same maniacs that are in charge now.
So we're in 2024 today, and your trends journal is forecasting World War III. Plus, the banks are going to go bust. We're still in trouble there, so they have to start a world war to take the pressure off of our own administration. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying. Look, let's go to the Israel war. We'll go back to December 2022. The Netanyahu government came in. All the media called it an extreme right-wing government. What in the world is going on? So let's take Israel, for example. For 39 weeks, beginning in 2023, there were protests in Israel against Netanyahu's Judicial Reform Act that basically said the courts don't count, the politicians are in charge, and they can't bring me up on my charges. 39 weeks of protests, not my language, the language from Isaac Herzog, the president of Israel. We're in a civil war. October 7th happens, Hamas attacks, all of that's forgotten. They went to war. 2 days after the Hamas attack, reports came out that the United States and Egypt had warned Israel that this is going to happen. They let it happen.
They let it happen, yes.
When all else fails, they take you to war. But when the war broke out, everybody forgot about what happened for 39 weeks. And so that's what we're ramping up to. Again, the Ukraine war, this war, again, we only put the data in there where they want another $100 billion out of Europe to keep the war going in Ukraine. Ukraine's been busted since the breakup of the Soviet Union.
Right.
Again, the European Union called it the most corrupt country in Europe. So what happens? Yanukovych, who was the president of Ukraine, made a deal, they were going broke, with the IMF, the International Mafia, a monetary fund, and the EU, the European Union, to borrow money. Putin came along and said, listen, I'll give you lower interest rates, and I'm going to cut the price of your gas and oil. Yanukovych said, okay, we're going with you. No, you're not. The United States overthrew the government. People forget. They don't want to know. Go back to the breakup of the Soviet Union, the deal made between Gorbachev and Bush Sr. Quote, NATO would not move 1 inch further. So if we had the Russians up there in Canada and the Chinese down there in Mexico with missiles aimed at the United States, oh, we'd be so happy.
But our stock market is about to go down because of all those office buildings, because of COVID.
Lock down everything. You can't go to work, go home. And now people stay working from home, right? Now, let's say I'm the guy that owns the cubicles. I don't see them anyway. Yeah, stay home. I don't need all this. I'm paying all this rent. I don't need it. One of our top trends was office building bust. Office vacancy rates near 20%. 20% of the offices are vacant. How you gonna pay your debt if you own the building? And not only that, how about all the businesses that depended on commuters? Oh, they're going out of business too. Now let's look at the office occupancy rate, meaning people in the office. Of the 10 largest cities, it's around 50%. So now we keep going.
But this
S&P Global downgrades outlook of 5 regional banks. And do you know what the data now is of negative banks? It's not 5. It's almost 300. It's going to be a banking crisis, the likes of which we have never seen in the world.
Correct. But there's one more thing, Gerald, is that those banks, a lot of the buildings are REITs, real estate investment trusts, and those are in the pensions of all these baby boomers.
That's right. I agree with you 100%. Banks stall for time on office loans. For the banks, the phenomenon which critics often dub extended and pretend. So what they're doing is they're saying, yeah, loans come due. I don't have the money. Don't worry, we're going to extend it. You're going to have to pay more on your interest. The interest rates have gone up. We're not going to let you go default. We're going to pretend that everything is okay. The markets are going to crash. That's why gold prices are going up. Look what one of your top trends for 2024 is. Golden year for gold. What was it? Oh, it's only up about $300 since we said that. Israel wiped out a couple of guys, about several people over there in Syria in the consulate. Iran says they're going to retaliate. If this gets worse, you've already seen oil prices, Brent crude, which was around $73 just several months ago, now to over $90 a barrel. That's going to go to $130 a barrel, and that'll crash the global economy and the equity markets if this continues to escalate, which the crazy people, I believe, are going to keep going, because when all else fails, they take you to war.
But also, that's a depression you're talking about.
Oh, you got it.
And then, Gerald, my friend is a congressman from northern Michigan. You know, he was a lieutenant general in the Marine Corps. But he just said the only thing that the price is coming down on is fentanyl. Fentanyl is pouring across the border. So now the drug dealers don't have to make it. It's so cheap from China that they don't have to worry about it.
Again, it's a freak show.
Yeah.
And the freaks are running the show.
We're screwed up right now, big time.
No, we need peace on earth. Close all the bases overseas, bring home the troops, secure the homeland, and rebuild America. We need to become a self-sustaining economy. We have all the human and natural resources to do it. Made in America. We need all the help we can get.
Yeah, we need the truth.